Good morning, students. Welcome to today's class. As you can see, I have written down biology on the blackboard. That means today we are going to study a chapter from biology. Now, before I commence today's class, let me ask you a question. That what do you associate with biology? Means what does biology relate to? Definitely living things. And what does living things are made up of? Have you ever wondered that what are living things made up of? What is your body made up of and why it is behaving like this? We have studied enough about living things by studying chapters like plants, related to plants, that is crop production. Then we studied about small organisms like microorganisms and about other animals in conservation of wildlife. Now let me associate all this chapter together. Means what is common between all of these? That they are all living things. And what is common in living things? That is today's chapter. So we are going to study about the chapter that is cell. So what is common in microorganism, plants and animals? That is cell. What is cell? Cell are the basic unit of life. Means all the organisms are made up of cell. Now you can't see cell. What is cell? How does it look? How does it behave? And what does it do? And why it is so important? That we are going to cover in today's chapter. So the chapter name is cell, its structure and function. That is chapter 7 in your science book. Now let me ask one more question, that we are not able to see cell, but how do we know that our body is made up of cell? Well, the man has always been very inquisitive, so he always want to know what is happening around him, what is happening inside his body and what his body is made up of. And there are a lot of people who have always worked in this, and then the prime discoveries or the main discoveries related to the cell was made. I am going to enlist some of the discoveries related to cell, which will help you to know that how we are going to know about cell and how much we have till now discovered about cell and how it is so important to us. So the first prime discovery that was made about the cell was done by Robert Hooke. So the discovery of cell was done by Robert Hooke. And which year it was done? It was done in the year 1665. Now what kind of cell he has seen? Was it a living cell or dead cell, and how does the cell looks? The bark of the tree is dead. So how did Robert Hooke find out about the cell and how the cell looked at that time when he discovered it, and what was it, a living cell or a dead cell? So he was working on a cork. Cork is the bark of a cork tree and it is a dead cell. So he was working on that and he found out that the cork was looking like a honeycomb structure. Honeycomb is the place where honeybees live. So it has structure like this. So the cell of the cork tree was found to be like this, due to which he called it as cella, from where the term cell originated. So it was a dead cell. So primarily Robert Hooke found about a dead cell. It looked like honeycomb, so it gave the name cell. So the first discovery about the cell was made by Robert Hooke. But this was not enough, because once a thing was found out, many more discoveries lined up after that. And it was Anton van Leeuwenhoek who found about the first living cell. Anton van Leeuwenhoek, who is considered to be the father of microbiology, came up with the discovery of the living cell. Now the discovery made by Robert Hooke and the discovery made by Anton van Leeuwenhoek had a little difference. Robert Hooke found about a dead cell, whereas Leeuwenhoek found about a living cell. And how he came up with this discovery? Anton van Leeuwenhoek He is considered to be the father of microbiology I hope you remember what is microbiology. If you remember, while studying with the chapter microorganism, the branch of science that deals with the study of microorganism is called microbiology. So he is considered to be the father of microbiology, and he discovered first living cell. Now, before I continue with this, I would definitely want to add one thing. Discovery of cell would not have been possible without the technological developments related to microscope. Microscope, as you know, is a instrument that is used to look tiny things. Means those things which are very small can be seen through the microscope. Microscope means the small things can be seen with this instrument. This instrument was invented. Microscope is Zacharias Janssen. So he invented microscope through which so many things could be discovered. So with the development that were made in microscope, many things were able to be seen with the help of microscope, and it helped the cell biology to be developed into more order spectrum. So first Anton van Leeuwenhoek did is that he made some changes with the microscope, means he developed the magnification of microscope to a much better way what it was there in the case of Robert Hooke, and then he found about the living cell. How he came to know about the living cell? He took pond water and he looked into it through the microscope, and what he found out that there were small things which was moving into the slime, and he called it as animalcules. So these were the first discovery made by Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So it was the first living cell which happened in the year 1674. So there are two very important dates to remember. One, the discovery of cell that was made by Robert Hooke in the year 1665, and the discovery of the first living cell that was made by Anton van Leeuwenhoek in the year 1674. And then there were more and more things which were done in the field of cell biology. What was that? That was about cell theory. So what is cell theory? We are going to discuss now. So there are many landmarks in the field of cell biology, and one of that is cell theory. Since many scientists came up to find out about cell and the things related to cell, there were German botanists and zoologists, Frieden and Schwann, which came up with the cell theory. Let's see what is this cell theories are. Both of them studied about plants and animals, and they found out that what are the common things related to cell in both of them, and they came up with points that is called as cell theory. So it was in the year 1838 and 39 that Malthus, Schleiden and Theodore Schwann formed cell theory. They gave the cell theory. The main points related to cell theory are, the first point is all the living organisms are made up of cells. So they studied about living organism and they found out that all of them are made up of cell. So the first point of the cell theory is all living organisms are made up of cell. The second point is cell is the structural and functional unit of life. So these are the two main points of the cell theory which was proposed by Schleiden and Schwann. that every living organism, if it is a living organism, then it is definitely made up of cell, and the cell is a structural and functional unit of life. Now what it means, this is a very important point. Please note down these points into your notebook. Everything what is written on the blackboard should be there into your notebook. Everything is very important. So what is meant by the structural and functional unit of life? Since every living organism is made up of cell, so it forms the structure, means the body is made up of cell, and every cell is capable of doing function. So that is why it is a functional unit of life. It is not that if an organism is containing hundreds or thousands or millions of cells, then one cell is dependent on another cell. Definitely not. All the cells are individually able to perform the functions which is related to their survival, means respiration, excretion, transportation, everything can be done by the cell itself. So it is not at all dependent on another cell for its survival. It can do its function on. Therefore, you can say that the cell is functional unit of life. So it is the basic unit, means the unit which is responsible for the structure and function is cell. So this is about the cell theory which was discussed by Schleiden and Schwann. There was one more point that was added by Rudolf Virchow, again a German, in the year 1855, which gave the third point about the cell theory. The third point says that all the cells derive from the pre-existing cells, means the older cells are giving birth to the new cells. So the third point I am going to write, which is given by Rudolf Virchow. So the third point was given by Rudolf Virchow. In the year 1855, that all the cells derive from pre-existing cells. So we have 3 points in the cell theory. Cell theory is actually just gist of everything related to cell in these 3 points. That every living organism is made up of cell. I am repeating again. Please pay attention. That every living organism is made up of cell first. Second, the cell is the structural and functional unit of life, or you can say it is a basic unit of life or fundamental unit of life. Third, that all the cells derive from the pre-existing cell. So this was about the cell theory. Now we cannot move further about the cell without discussing about the microscope. Microscope is the instrument that is used to see the small things. Let's discuss about that also. Microscope. Microscope is made up of word micros. That is a Greek word which means small. So microscope is the instrument which is used to see small things. So instrument used to see small things. So all those things which you cannot see by naked eyes can be easily seen by microscope. There are various different type of microscope. For example, the microscope which you see in your laboratories are the optical microscope, the simplest one. And there are electron microscope, simple microscope, and various different type of microscope. The main importance of the microscope is to see small things. Due to the different developments which were made in microscope, the lot of things were made possible in the cell biology. Means lot of discoveries could be made due to only microscope. Now, how to use microscope and what are the precautions related to microscope? Now, in your 9th class, when you will start doing practicals, experiments, you have to handle microscope, and one has to be very careful while handling microscope because it is a delicate instrument. You cannot be very rough if you are using microscope. First thing is that one has to keep the lens very clean, because if there is any dirt accumulated on the lens or on the eyepiece, then you cannot see the image properly. Second, one has to handle it properly means if you have to carry from one place to another, then you have to use both of the hands, one at the base and one at the handle, and then take it from one place to another. Keep the microscope always clean and keep it into the box when it is not in use, and always be careful while observing the slides when you are doing any experiment. These are some basic precautions that is related to microscope. So microscope has been developing day by day, and the major discoveries were made till now about the cell. So what are the different observations we can discuss about the cell? What are the different shape of the cell? What are the different size of the cell? What are the different number of the cell? Let's discuss about that also. So when we discuss about cell and we say that all the living organisms are made up of cell, so are the cells number, shape, size same in all of these living organisms? Definitely not. They are different in all the living organisms, and hence they are different from each other, irrespective of the fact that they all are made up of cell. So let's see that whether all the living organisms consist of same type of the cells or it is different. Well, if we see the difference, that there is two basic difference regarding the number of the cell. The cell can be one or many. Means that an organism may contain only one cell or it may contain many cells. If it is containing only one cell, then that particular organism is called as unicellular. And if it containing lots of cells, many cells, then it is called as multicellular. Now you can see in the terms itself, the difference is quite evident. Uni means one, multi means many, and cellular, that is related to cell. So in an organism may be unicellular or multicellular. Let's see the examples of unicellular and multicellular. The most common example which you may have studied in your class 7 also is amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism and same as paramecium. Whereas plants, animals, including you, are multicellular. So this organism is having only one cell, whereas these organisms are having lots of cells. It can be hundreds, thousands, millions, trillions, like in the case of human body. Now this organism not capable of any function, or its function is different from multicellular. When, as we have already discussed in the cell theory, that the cell is able to do all the function, means an individual cell is able to carry all the functional things which is needed for the survival. So even if it is a unicellular organism, all the life related functions, all the life related process can be done by this, and these over here in the multicellular organism, all the cells are working together to make the function of the organism proper. So this is about the unicellular and multicellular organism. There are some basic differences also. For example, the lifespan of unicellular organism is lesser than the multicellular organism. For example, if a cell like amoeba is having any kind of problem, if there is any kind of disruption or any kind of danger or anything happens to the cell, then the individual, means the organism, dies. But in case of multicellular organism, the death or not functioning of one or two cell or tens or hundred of cell may not lead to death unless and until it becomes very problematic. So that is the basic difference about the unicellular and multicellular. You will do one thing, you will write one question, that is differentiate between unicellular and multicellular organisms. Make sure sure when you are writing the differences, you are making a column and then writing. Do not write in the paragraph form. So let's see what happens in the case of multicellular organism. Like we have discussed that unicellular organism is having only one cell. So that cell is able to do all the function. But what about multicellular organism? Are all the cells performing function? Which cell has to perform one particular function? How they are working together to make the function properly? Let's see about that also. So here I am going to discuss a little more about the multicellular organism. The multicellular organism, as I have said, multi means many. If there are many cells, then there could be a problem to how to divide the labor or how to divide the workload. Now just take an example like in your case. If anything is given to you individually in the class, like any homework is given to you, any project is given to you, it is easy for you to do it since you have to do it yourself. You know how to put your time and how to put your effort into that. But if you have to do a work, a project in a team, like in a team of 4 people or 5 people or more than that, then it may become a problematic for you to adjust the timing, to adjust the efficiency of each other, to adjust how you are going to pour down your work. So that becomes a little difficult in case if 4 or 5 people are included. That becomes a problem in the case of a multicellular organism also. Which cell has to do function and which cell has to do the growth, which cell has to do the respiration. It can be problematic. But do mind that all the cells are able to do the function. I am repeating this again and again. All the cells are doing their function themselves. So any extra work, if they are assigned, which one has to do? For that, they are divided into or they are organized into certain group. Now, how it is? Let's see. For example, I am writing cell over here down because it is the basic unit of the life. Means, for example, in a case of a building, whether the building is a house or a shopping complex or a school, all of them are having bricks. Bricks are forming their structure. So, similarly, cells are forming the structure. So, cell is the basic unit of life. If lots of cells are grouped together on the basis of some kind of property, then they form another group. So when many of the cells are grouped together according to their structure and their function, it becomes a tissue. So we have a group of cells which are similar in function and structure called as tissues. When group of tissues which are similar in function and structure are together, it becomes a organ. Many organs work together to form organ system, which constitute an organism. So in case of a multicellular organism, this level of organization is there. This level of organization where a cell is at the base, group of cell together forms the tissues, group of tissues form the organ, group of organ form the organ system, which constitute an organism. Let's write an example of each of them. Cell, your blood cell RBC could be a very good example of cell. Tissues, blood is a tissue. Organ, heart is a organ. Organ system, circulatory system. An organism, definitely human being. Now, many of these things you have already studied in your previous classes. For example, you have studied about blood in class 7, you have studied about heart in class 7, and even about circulatory system in class 7. So you know about what are the function of each of them and how they perform their function to make your survival possible. You will do one thing, you will write the definition of each of them. I am repeating the definition again in case you have missed it. Cell is the basic unit of life. Tissues are the group of cells which are similar in function and structure. Organs are group of tissues which are similar in structure and function. Organ system is a group of organs which perform a particular function. and they constitute together an organism. So this is how a multicellular organism works. Now let's discuss about the size and shape of the cell. Are all the cells same in their shapes or size, or they are different? Let's discuss about that also. Before I commence further, let me discuss an activity. This activity is activity 7.1 and it is given at the page number 123 of your textbook. So the activity is to observe amoeba, paramecium and yeast through microscope. So this activity is 7.1 and it is given at the page number 123. I am writing all the details on the blackboard. If you have any confusion, do ask me in the doubt class. So first I am going to write the aim of the experiment. Today I am writing the experiment in front of you so that you should have an idea about how to write an activity or experiment in the notebook. Please be very particular about the details, because if you are not writing properly, you may lose the marks, and this is very important if you are studying science till 10th, or even if you are taking biology further on from 11th standard. These small details are very, very important. So first you have to write the aim of the experiment, that is to observe amoeba, paramecium and yeast through a microscope. Now the second point is about materials required. What are all the things which is required in the experiment? Now it includes both the chemicals or the apparatus. So it includes both of the things, both the apparatus and the chemicals which is needed for, or the specimens which is needed for the experiment. Here we are using the permanent slides. And definitely a microscope. Now, before I commence further, I have written down permanent slides. What are permanent slides? Now, if we have to look something under microscope, you cannot just put the thing under the microscope and observe it. You have to prepare a slide. How a slide is made, I will discuss that. For that, for example, if I have to observe the very common experiment which is done, that is to observe an onion peel cell. Now, what is done in this case, what you require in that case is a glass slide. It is just roughly this shape and size. A glass slide is required and a cover slip is required. Now, whatever specimen we have to observe under the microscope, a very thin slice of it is taken and is kept on the slide, and then it is stained. Why stained? Because the cell is very faint color or pale color or very light color. We cannot observe it under the microscope in that way. So we have to stain it so that the different parts of the cell can observe the color in a different manner and we can easily see it through the microscope. So the stains which are used normally are methylene blue and saffron solution, and just a little bit of it is used to just stain it. Then add glycerin. If you think it will dry up, just add a glycerin on it and put the cover slip. Cover slip is a very thin glass structure which is kept over the specimen so that it can protect it. For example, I have to observe any specimen. I will just put the specimen over here and then I will put the cover slip over it and observe it under the microscope. Now these are temporary slides. Means you are just making it, observing it under the microscope and then washing it away. That is done. But there are some things, some specimens, some kind of things which cannot be available all the time. Therefore, permanent slides comes into our help. The permanent slides are already made and they are preserved. The specimen under them is preserved so that it is not spoiling. And these slides are very useful if you have to study the things when the things are not available to your place. So you have to take the permanent slides of amoeba, paramecium and yeast, and we have to see under the microscope. Now the third point after this will come the procedure. Procedure is the steps which is taken to do this experiment. Now whenever you will see into your textbook, it is in the form where it is directing you to do this experiment. Means वो आपको बता रहा है कि एक्सपेरिमेंट को इस तरीके से करिए. बट व्हेन यू आर राइटिंग दैट इनटू योर नोटबुक, यू आर नॉट जस्ट गोइंग टू कॉपी इट डाउन. You have to write that into a past form. Means you have done the experiment and you're just reporting it. So it has to be in that way. Do remember always that I'm skipping the procedure over here and I'm going to write the observation which will be after the procedure. Now what is observation? Observation is what you have observed. Now the objective of teaching and learning science is to make yourself aware about everything which is happening around you. Means if you're a science student, you should have a observation skill, good observation skill. Means you should always observe things what is happening around you, which will make you to ask question like why and how. So observation skills are definitely developed when you are doing these experiments. So what you are observing means we are doing some experiments, so you must observe something. What you are observing, you will observe that amoeba, paramecium and yeast, all of them will have a different shape. Now if we want to make a temporary slide of it, we can take pond water and then observe it under the microscope. What you will see that they are having a different shape. For example, I think you may have drawn amoeba number of times. Amoeba have a irregular shape. It is very different when we come in terms of paramecium or yeast. And paramecium has a kind of a slipper kind of a shape, whereas yeast will be, it is a single cell, unicellular, all of it is a unicellular. So as you can see, all of these cells, all of these organisms are having different shapes. Now are the shapes having any significance or they are just having different shapes? Definitely shapes are having significance. If you remember in your class 7, amoeba, which is having this finger-like projection, which is called as, yes, pseudopodia, help it to move in water and procure food. Similarly, this kind of shape of paramecium helps it to move into the water properly, and the cilia is helping it to procure food or to move into water. So the shapes are having significance. As you can see that these unicellular organisms are having different shape. Similarly, there are lots of plants. There are many other cells which are different from each other. Their shapes are different, and all this shape is different due to the function they perform. We will discuss about the shapes of the cell and their function in our next topic. Before that, let's end this experiment. So in our observation, we have seen that the different unicellular organisms are having different shape. So the aim of the experiment was to observe amoeba, paramecium and yeast through a microscope. So you will end the experiment with conclusion that these different organisms are having different shape, and you will definitely add a precaution. Precaution may come in this, that to handle the microscope properly and observe the permanent slides properly. So this is all about the shape of the cell. We will discuss about the shapes of different cells in our next.